Lord Mary Siri Carney.
Thank you. It's an incredible honour to get up and to speak about John Bruton and to say, you know, he was the leader of my tribe. And I think John McGahan has very much spoken about that family, and as has Garrett, that sense of a family. I admired John Bruton as a politician before I was a member of Fine Gael, as a man of great integrity, intellect and conviction. He gave hope to a generation of us who came out of school with very little hope, with very little employment prospects, with very hard circumstances facing us, and set in those seeds of the prosperity that I believe our country experiences today. He had such a deep sense of responsibility and passion for his country that I have always been greatly inspired by. I loved his abhorrence of violence. I found it inspirational. I found it courageous, and it is something that has had a lasting impact on me in saying that, you know what, maybe a lot of the origins set in motion a permission for violence that should never have been given, and maybe that is the Redmondite tradition, though I've never coined it as such in my own views. I think his major, amongst many accomplishments, but his efforts in bringing the communities together and communities that were torn apart by decades of conflict. His efforts there, his sense of inclusion, of speaking up on both sides, and determination and vision was no doubt the foundations of the Good Friday Agreement, and often his role in that, his very instrumental role, does get overlooked. I think he had a steadfast commitment to peace and reconciliation in a way that it is incredibly admirable. He was admired beyond our borders. You know, he was very influential in shaping Ireland's role in the European Union, and I am very, very proud of that. A strong advocate for cooperation and unity, and recognising the importance of Ireland's place, within that broader European community. In a sense, the words of Robert Emmet, of Ireland taking its place amongst the nations of the world. Beyond his political achievements, he was a man of great character and warmth, and his kindness, his humility, touched the lives of all of those who had the pleasure of knowing him. He was a mentor, a friend, a beacon of hope for future generations of Irish leaders. I came in to Fine Gael through my husband. We worked together in the YMCA and had a massive project of building homeless accommodation, and Dave's job was to procure the money, and I was a young first-time female chief executive in the organisation's 150-year history. We signed a contract with the builder for an €11 million project, only to find, when we turned up soil, an unexpected archaeology. So just when we thought we had all the money, we found ourselves massively short. Dave, my husband, had been Jim Mitchell's director of elections, and there had been many a robust exchange over the years between Jim and John Bruton, and Dave had been party to that. So I suppose I came in knowing all of that history and hearing the stories, and late night, especially around Christmas, when we all get together and the Mitchell Mafia get together and talk about their history and their experience. But one of the things we got told was that the Taoiseach has a discretionary fund. So John was out of office a number of years at that stage. But Dave was forever doorstepping anyone that we thought would give us an ear and give us the money to complete the 600,000 that we were short. And we read in the paper that John Bruton was speaking at a headline, very expensive gig in Dublin Castle. And Dave said to me, we'll get his advice of how to get into the Taoiseach and how to get the money out of that discretionary. We'll slip in during lunchtime, and we'll ask his advice. He knows me well. We'll go up, we'll ask his advice, and we'll keep ourselves under the radar. We'll just go. I was mortified at the idea that we were going to doorstep an event that we hadn't paid to go to. But anyway, we arrived in. John saw Dave. Dave saw John. They embraced. It was a real warm, fantastic, whatever. And we were keeping under the radar. And John did, we're going to lunch. Come to lunch with us. And we ended up sitting at the top table during the lunchtime, only to have other speakers at the event have to move tables to facilitate us. But he was curious about our project. He was curious about Dave's life. He was curious about our journey and life post Jim's death. Lord rest him too. So that was my personal encounter with him. Someone who was warm and passionate and curious and interesting. And as the people have spoken about his curiosity and his interest, I thought, I've actually lived that in a very powerful way. I had then the pleasure of meeting him again as a senator when he spoke at our think-in on my very first ever Fine Gael think-in. He knew exactly who I was, where I fitted in, remembered that I was Dave's wife, and had very, very encouraging and very warm words. So I think today, we stand and we bid farewell to someone who was an extraordinary individual, and we have the honour of remarking on his amazing legacy, his contributions as a politician, a peacemaker, an advocate of progress in our country, and we have all of our memories in our hearts. My thoughts today are with his family, his wife Finola, and his 4 children and their families, and especially to his brother, our colleague, and someone I'm proud to now call my friend, Richard, and to all of our family in Fine Gael who will really miss him and will treasure everything that he stood for. And hopefully he will continue to be a standard bearer for everything that a politician, especially a Fine Gael politician, stands for. Thank you.